All right, how are you doing tonight, guys and gals? We have got just one break tonight. It'll take us a little while though because it's a half case of 2019 Heritage Baseball. And it looks like we're probably going to have some teams available. I know, that's shocking, right? It's shocking that someone would bid and not pay. Yeah, we seem to have had a rash of that lately, haven't we? Um, okay, let's get a little bit of our pre-break info up on the screen so we can go through that, and then we'll take a look at our unpaid teams and see if anybody wants to pick those up for tonight or not. So first up, a note about feedback. It is 100% automated on eBay, so you don't ever have to wait on me. Anytime you leave positive feedback for me, you're going to instantly get it in return. And of course, the second message there is just to say thank you, because I do appreciate you being here with me, keeping me company while we do these breaks. And of course, those of you who bid and break with me, always appreciate you as well. Looking right now at breaks that are going to be coming up. This is the stuff that's up and running on eBay that will be breaking over the next 5 nights. So tomorrow night is an off night. I don't take too many of those, but I'm going to have to take a few between now and tax day anyway to get all that done. Monday night, a pair of Gold Rush autograph mini football helmets, a 3-box inner case of Onyx Preferred Players autograph baseballs, a full case of Impeccable basketball, and a 20-box master case of Contenders Optic football. Woohoo! On Tuesday night, we'll open Leaf Best of Basketball by the full case, and Panini Select Football full case break number 5 will be Tuesday night as well. On Wednesday, a Gold Rush Trifecta football. That's one of the memorabilia boxes. Has 3 signed items in it. So far, we've been pulling 16 by 20 photographs and then 2 other items. They can apparently be anything from cleats to jerseys, mini helmets, actual footballs. All we know for sure is it's going to be 3 autographed items. Select Basketball comes out on Wednesday. We will break that by the full case. Donruss Baseball comes out Wednesday too, but I felt like it was going to be too long of a break to try to do both of those on Wednesday. So we moved Donruss Baseball to Thursday night. We'll break 8 boxes, which is a half case. It's a big case when you do Donruss. So we're going to open a half case of Donruss Baseball on Thursday night, along with a Leaf autograph multi-sport jersey. And note that we will be starting early on Thursday at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Now, here's the info you need to know about shipping. So, Heritage Baseball, every team is going to pull cards in here, so we don't have to worry about consolation cards. Everybody's going to get a package and have plenty of cards for their team. I'm anticipating this will be on the way to you by Wednesday. So, on or before Wednesday is my best estimate. Now, occasionally something won't go as planned throughout the week, and it might slide a day later, could be Thursday. If everything goes beautifully and better than expected, it might get out the door to you earlier, but my best estimate is Wednesday. I do print the labels, of course, from eBay, so you're going to see a shipping notification when that happens. Now, let's take a look back here and see what kind of teams we have available. So it looks like we have got let me just take a better look here. The Nationals are available. Their last bid amount was, I think, $35 and some change. The Astros are available. Their last bid amount was $26, I think that says. I know, my eyes are getting bad, aren't they? I can't see that far across, but I think it says $26. And then the third available team tonight, let me get back over here into the unpaid stuff. Give me 1 second. Oh, actually, somebody just paid for one of those. All right, so it looks like the Nationals are off the table. Those are paid now. So we're dealing with the Astros at $26 and the Orioles at $12. And of course, preference is going to go to somebody who might take them both just to make everybody's life easier. But if nobody wants them both, then we'll take offers on them individually. But so that leaves us Astros and Orioles. Okay, so let me know if anybody wants that. And Greg is here. T. Cassidy's here. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Matt. And Greg says Heritage is boring. Okay. And yeah, so Charlie, you're offering 25 on the Astros. That's fine. Chris, combined shipping, all the information about combined shipping, of course, you can find in the listing description. It's easier to probably go through that than it is for me to run through the whole thing right now. But yes, provided that you wait for the invoice, et cetera, et cetera. But it's in some detail there in the listing description about how that works. Charlie, you're offering both teams at 30. So you're basically offering 5 for the Orioles. I tell you what, Charlie, if you want to do both if you would do both at 35, we have a deal. And of course, obviously, I'm going to include the shipping in that. So that's, the equivalent of getting it for a little bit less even by the time I pick up the shipping. So Charlie, are you willing to do both for 35? If you are, we will make a deal on that and move onward and upward. If not, I can figure out if anybody else want them. What's our sitch here, guys? That's a deal? All right, cool. Charlie, if I type in my email address for you, are you okay just logging into PayPal and sending it that way directly? Or do you need me to go in and create an invoice and send it to you? I can do it either way, but obviously it's easier, faster maybe in terms of the break movement if you log in and send it, but it's up to you. I know some people don't like doing it that way, so let me know what works for you. You're good with that? Awesome. I'm going to type in here for you right now. I'm typing into chat the email address I use for PayPal. As a quick reminder, everybody, I don't check this for correspondence. So, it's tied to a lot of things that automatically bill, and PayPal and stuff like that has been tied to for years. So I'm too lazy to move it. That's kind of the end result of it. All right, Charlie, let me update the spreadsheet here reflecting that you have picked up the Orioles and the Astros. So if you give me 1 second, I'm going to get these others ended here. Let's get our orders taken out on eBay for the Astros and the Orioles. And then we will update the spreadsheet and be ready to go. So there is that one done. Astros is done. Let me get the Orioles done. I wish there was a way I could do it in bulk, right? You would like to think you wouldn't have to do it in bulk, but yet some nights you do need to cancel them in bulk. Ay. All right, Astros, Orioles, both canceled. Now, let's go into here. Thanks for your patience, everyone, while I'm getting this done. And this is okay. So we've got all of that updated. Now we can take a look at our spreadsheet. So this is going to be a 6-box half case break of 2019 Heritage Baseball. This is, of course, break number 2, the back half of the case. This came out on Wednesday. We broke the first half of the case on Wednesday. As you might be accustomed to seeing, this is the format with team names on the left. Our winning bidder user IDs are across from it on the right-hand side. The Orioles and the Astros, the 2 teams that Charlie's picking up by way of chat, are noted there as second chance for Charlie. And everybody else, you're going to see your eBay username across from your team. And, of course, everything that we're opening tonight ended tonight on eBay the 2nd of March. And let me get let me get the Topps checklist up here, and I think we are going to be good to go. All right, so Charlie, are you all good, man? You got it? All right, cool. I see that. I should have read first. Charlie says it's done, and he's good. So we are ready to rock and roll. I've got the checklist up in case we need it. And we are ready to get down to business. So the first half of this case, I did not catch it. When we were doing it live, I caught that it was a variation. I did recognize the variation, and I said, oh yeah, it's a variation, but somehow it didn't register in my brain. It was a throwback jersey variation, right? And those are so rare. It's like 1 in every 36 or 37 cases or something has a throwback jersey in it. So it turned out, of course, it was for the Miami Marlins. It was a Starlin Castro, and I think it was Starlin Castro was the player. It was definitely the Marlins. And so I don't guess anybody else, I don't think anybody watching caught that it was throwback either. We all just, I saw the code and I recognized that it looked different, and I saw the code and I was like, oh yeah, it's a variation, but I missed the important part that it was a throwback jersey. So of course I caught it when I was sorting, and I was pretty pumped about that because I don't pull the throwback jerseys really very often. Well, nobody does, being that they come out once every 35 or 36 cases, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Jay Allen is here. Jay Allen has the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. I started to say the Cardinals. I've got football on the brain. I was watching the Combine stuff earlier today, so I've got football on the brain a little bit. So there's all kinds of box toppers in here, and some of them are original buybacks. Some of them, like this, are these odd-sized cards. This particular one is Shohei Ohtani on there, with the facsimile signature, of course. And those are pretty cool, fun little hits. And that one is for the Angels. There's also the possibility of a poster, which we pulled out of the first half of the case. A little folded up poster. So all kinds of fun stuff for our box toppers that we find in Heritage. And one hit per box in terms of either an autograph or a relic. Now, there's like all kinds of variations in here. Some of them I'm going to spot as we go through. The ones that I spot as we go through, like the action image, and sometimes photo variations and just different things of that nature, I will high number short prints, those type things. If I see it when we go through, obviously I'm going to call it out. Some of them I don't recognize, and I catch them when I sort. Obviously, the more of this that we break, the more readily I will catch the variations when we go through live. But being as how this is only the second half of the first case, there's probably still some that'll get by me. However, all the cards ship, so you don't have to worry in that regard. Excuse me. I did not cough on my hands. FYI, I coughed into my elbow, so nothing gross on my hands to touch your cards. Since all the cards ship, you're going to get everything, variation and otherwise. And of course, I also catch the vast majority of them when I sort. Just like I caught the throwback jersey out of the first half of the case. Mark, you need some Boston Red Sox luck, huh? Okay, so Jay Allen calling forth the mojo, as is Mark. And, of course, we're looking for Charlie to have some good mojo as well for picking up our teams that were unpaid. So that was nice, and I appreciate that very much, Charlie. Thank you for that. Especially good when we get them both out at once. Keeps things rolling along a little better. Okay, let me get a drink of water here. We are going to find all kinds of cards that will end up going to be distributed by way of random or otherwise. And I'll show you what I mean as soon as we come across one. But there's lots of league leaders and things like that. And those have multiple teams on the card. And when we find something that has multiple teams on the card, there's one. It gets set aside because we'll use random at the end of the break, and we will determine which spot it goes to. So in other words, they might all go to whatever team is in the top position, or it could all go to the team on the lower left, or all go to the team on the lower right, etc., just depending on how random sorts it out. So any of those multi-team cards, that's how those are going to go. Chris, you said you opened a bunch of these today and it was tough. You spent $150 and you didn't get much out of some other breaks, or you opened it like yourself, like personal breaks? There's Rick Porcello. That is the Boston Red Sox Clubhouse Collection Relic. And you know what I just realized? The one thing I do every night that I forgot to do and didn't catch it till just now, which is change that stupid focus, because that autofocus is a pain in the patootie. And you saw what it does. It doesn't let us look at our cards up closely enough, and it tries to zoom in and out and do stupid crap. That's better, isn't it? I think it is. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's a little better. So, yes. So anyway, multi-team cards, you know the drill. They're going to set right up there, and we'll deal with them as we go along. I'm checking that. That is just a standard. Sometimes when I'm not sure if something is a variation, as I said, it takes me a bit to get used to spotting them outright. I flip them over to find out occasionally. This, for the Brewers, happens to be a little chrome parallel. It's numbered to 999. Any of these chrome parallels that are not refractors that have that gray border are going to be numbered the same, to 999. Sometimes we may find one that is a refractor. If we find refractors, of course, they're going to be numbered lower. News flashbacks. That's something else that goes into our housekeeping pile because those don't have anything to do with baseball. Yeah, right? So those will all be awarded as a group in its entirety at the end of the break to one team. So all those news flashbacks will travel that way at the end of the break. Hi, EQ. You are asking about, if you're asking about unpaid teams, yes, unpaid teams have already been picked up. I'm thinking that might be what you're asking. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking that might be what you're asking. And there is a batting leaders, another multi-team there. Jay Allen, you say you're going to only watch the first box and go to bed, and Greg says it's long and boring. Well, alrighty then. I tell you what was long but not boring was the combine stuff today. I thought that was, I always like watching like the 40-yard dash and some of that stuff. I always find interesting. Now, I just did that backwards, didn't I? I had a 6-team, or did I set it? I guess I set it up there already. So we've got that moved aside. I thought you'd be happy today, Greg, anyway, because Bryce Harper had on your Phillies uniform for the first time. So these baseball scratch-off things, they actually, well, I can't get, there we go. It is actually some kind of little game. And so they come with this sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but you can see it. It's a kind of a heavy crease there in it. That's the way they're made, whether you open them or whether you don't, but it is some kind of little game. So I count those as inserts. I'm sure you guys would also, and gals, would consider that to be an insert as well. So Chris, you said you bought yours at the store, your Heritage. Well, sometimes that can be difficult, because what they don't guarantee hits in a lot of the stuff that you buy at retail. The flip side of that is they often have parallels, different types of cards that you can't get in hobby that you get in retail. So sometimes you pick something up nice that way. But in regard to pulling, autographs and things, that's a lot tougher to do in the retail product. So that might be part of it, Chris, if you had, I don't know if you were buying blasters or what exactly, but that might have something to do with it. That is an action image variation for the Astros, Alex Bregman. Oh, Patty, you said other breakers put those news flashbacks as a bidding spot. I just never do, because honestly, there's not that many of them. You usually end up getting, maybe 5 or 6 or something in a half case. You don't get a ton of them generally. And I personally don't, maybe there is somebody who really is dying to have those and would want to have their own bidding spot for it, but I really to me, it didn't look like a thing that was kind of a big deal. So I don't list it that way. Never have. Then and Now, those again, 2 different teams on them, but not all of them will be. Some of the Then and Nows will be both players with the same team. So, of course, when they're the same team, we don't set them aside. When they are different teams, obviously, then we do. So that one, for example, we've got to set aside. Yeah, I mean, I just, Patty, I kind of look at it that like the same way I look at points cards. There are certain products where you're probably going to pull some points cards. And some breakers set it aside and say points cards have their own bidding spot, which is perfectly fine. That's a perfectly fine way to do it. But it's just not the way I do it. Because I think most of the time when you get points cards, they are replacing a hit. So from my standpoint, I would rather give them out using random.org to somebody who's bought a team in the break because, well, they're replacing a hit, That is a short print for the Braves with Acuna. And I guess that's, what is that? Maybe a high number short print, I believe, technically. Which just means the higher numbered cards, obviously. But it is definitely a short print, anyway, on the Acuna for the Braves. So I don't know. I would rather just give the points cards out using random to people who have teams in the break since they replace hits. But I definitely know there are people who put them out in separate bidding categories. And I mean, I guess everybody still does it. Everybody does it different ways in terms of those sorts of things. Now, I break out like guaranteed things that, XRC bidding things. And like when you do the multi-signed helmets or multi-signed jerseys that we know are on a checklist for, say, a memorabilia product. Because those would be a nightmare to try to figure out all those signatures and then where they go. And I mean, yeah, that'd be awful. But a lot of things, I just like to random them out anyway. All right, so our box topper here is a buyback, and you can definitely tell that it's a buyback. It is horribly miscut. It's got really soft corners and edges. It's got all kinds of imperfections. You've got bent corners. I mean, it's been through it. And that's because it is an actual Topps card from 1970 that they bought back, and then they added that 50th anniversary stamp, and here it is, making its way to us. So that is our box topper, and it is for the Royals. Oh, Greg, you said, well, Topps wouldn't have updated, of course, Manny Machado yet, because that just took place, that trade. And, of course, it takes a while for that to cycle through into the product, right? Because they print this stuff pretty far in advance. Because there's, as you can imagine, it's quite an undertaking, I expect, to get the cards designed and signed and then packaged and shipped and all that. So they do this stuff well in advance. So that's why you're obviously not seeing Manny Machado as a Padre yet, nor are you going to see Bryce Harper as a Philly yet in Topps products. It'll take a little bit for them to cycle through. But, of course, now he wouldn't be an Oriole, though. His last team, of course, was the Dodgers, unless you're talking about inserts. Now, like with any product, Topps or Panini, sometimes they'll have players on an insert with former teams. We've seen that happen lots of times if they're flashback cards or whatever it might be. So, I mean, I don't know specifically which card you're referring to, but certainly Machado was a Dodger with some Topps products late last year, and probably early this year he's probably still a Dodger. There's another another scratch off. This one's Buster Posey and the San Francisco Giants. But yeah, they'll eventually catch up with all the trades and the new teams and all that sort of thing. Oh, Janis Joplin. I love Janis Joplin. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's not cool what it's celebrating. It's talking about when she passed, but I just think it's cool to see Janis Joplin on a trading card. That's what I meant. But anyway, you said Topps did a Topps Now card with the relic was the tablecloth used at the press conference. Wow. They are really kind of stretching, aren't they? They're starting to make relics out of press conference tablecloths. That's something. That is something. Yeah, I can't answer that, Greg. I don't know why, if you're saying he's an autograph in here, I don't know why he would be an autograph for the Orioles, unless, again, it could be a flashback card. It's showing, like this is showing some point in the season, and it could be a card like that. It could be on a then and now card like this. I don't know, obviously, specifically which card you're referring to, a sporting news card. It could be, any number of things. But certainly that's should tell you on the Topps checklist, though, what the card series is. It should say if it's, then and now or flashback or whatever it might be. Because I don't know the answer to that one. But I would definitely use the Topps checklist, if you want to know for sure, because as we all know, those crowdsourced, it's not really crowdsourced exactly, but those third-party places that do aggregate checklists are great, and I love them, like Group Break Checklists and Break Ninja and some of those places. It's a fantastic tool to give you an overview of what you can expect for any given team in a break. However, they are not infallible. They definitely, they can make mistakes and they can list things wrong and not check things out. So, if it wasn't on Topps directly, I would say go double check it and verify it, and then you would know. Red ink, one of what? You said red ink, one of... Are you still talking about Manny Machado, or are you speaking about something else? You just say red ink, one. I don't think we went by a red ink here, did we? I don't think I missed a red ink, but I guess anything's possible. Another news flashback. First women promoted to U.S. Army generals. I didn't realize that was in 1970, but hey, well, there you go. We got a little history lesson along with our heritage cards tonight, don't we? We do indeed. Ooh, we've got a black border coming up. It is the rookie stars for the Braves. The black borders are not numbered, but they typically are not produced in super high quantities. At some point or another, we may know kind of an approximation of the quantity of those that come out, but black borders are not super common. Oh, you just saw a picture of a Machado. Okay, so and it was definitely from this year's Heritage, and not like obviously Heritage from a past year. He would have been an Oriole, but yeah, you guys are saying the black is to 50. Well, that's what I had known about it in the past, was that it had been to 50, but I did not know that it had been absolutely confirmed as 50 again this year. So you guys tell me that is the case, and I will go with it. So we will assume that there are no more than 50 of any particular black border card. I always wondered why they don't just number them, since there are so few of them. I guess probably just costs more money to do it, probably in production. I was just looking at the code on the back of that one to make sure it wasn't a parallel. Ryan Braun and the Brewers Clubhouse Collection Relic. Mark, you're looking for the Sox. You said Red Sox, right? Not White Sox. You're Red Sox tonight. I think that's what you said. Trying to conjure up a little love here for Boston. See what we can come up with. Yeah, Red Sox. Okay, that's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure that that was the case. Who's the guy? I never can think of this guy's name. He's a baseball player himself. He's a pitcher. He collects baseball cards himself. He's always talking about his baseball card collection and things. And they got him. He plays for the Phillies. I think he plays for the Phillies. And they got him to recreate like an iconic image from, I don't even remember, maybe from 1970s Heritage, but with the sunglasses and the whole deal. They actually photoshopped the sunglasses onto him. But anyway, Neshek, is that his name? Yeah, you guys are typing it in. There you go. You guys are typing it in. Thank you. Yeah, that guy. So have you all seen that card come out live yet? I mean, I've just seen it in like marketing info. I haven't seen it come out live in a break yet, but I think that would be pretty cool to pull. Looks like a fun one. And there is a little Yankees Thurman Munson box topper. Once again, signature is facsimile, meaning printed on there, not live on there, but you guys probably know that already. And Mark, yes, there probably have been some other variations that have gone through. As I freely admit, I'm not going to catch them all going live. I just haven't handled these enough this year to spot them right off the bat. And, of course, any that I do spot, I point out as we go. They're usually the easier, you know, the easy ones to spot, if you will, the action image variations and stuff like that. But I will most likely find more high number short prints. There are typically a fair amount of high numbered short prints, but they're just, until I get used to seeing them, I'm not gonna always register them when we're going through live. But again, since everything ships, you're gonna get it regardless. And then I find it as I sort, and then obviously mark them. I tend to mark them as short prints when they go out the door too, so if there's any question, you will know when you get it. I typically will write, you know, SP or something on the top loader to alert you to it. Because, I mean, as I said, I didn't even, on that throwback jersey, I knew it was a variation, but I didn't even catch that it was a throwback jersey variation until I was doing the first sort that night. I was like, oh, dang, man, that is, you know, those are super rare. Those are super hard to pull. And I didn't catch it. Let's see, that Upton looks like it should be something, isn't it? It is something. It is a high number short print for the Angels with Justin Upton. And here's a chrome Buster Posey for the Giants to $9.99. I about said to $299, but that would be wrong. Let me double check this too, this Osuna. No, he looks par for the course. Just ordinary. But it'll definitely help after I have sorted through this another time. It becomes a lot easier to spot the variations once I've handled the cards a few times. Because you just kind of start catching them. It was for the Marlins, John. And I was trying to remember who the player was. I think it was Starlin Castro. It was definitely the Marlins was for sure the team. And I think it was Starlin Castro on the card, but when I shipped it out, I obviously marked, you know, throwback on the top loader so the person getting it would know, since I did not I recognized it as variation, but not as throwback when I had it in my hand. There's another one of our little games that is for Lorenzo Cain and the Milwaukee Brewers. Well, right, Charlie, that's what I was saying. That's why you might not have been on earlier when I was talking about that. But that's why I said some of these I've been flipping over and looking at if I have a question. It's because I'm flipping it over to look at the code on the back. But, of course, there are many different codes, and it takes a while to remember what they are all for. And for sure. I know that that is how you catch the variations. That's how we caught that as a variation in break 1. I just didn't clue in that it was the throwback variation specifically until I was sorting it. Oh, did I just pass that Pat? Yeah, is that the base card of him? Well, see, I didn't even see it when we went by. But I would, well, I'm sure we'll pass another one in here then somewhere. Because somebody said it's just a base. I actually thought it was a variation. I guess I wasn't quite on the mark there because someone else said it was a base. So I guess we'll see it again. Well, Charlie, they don't all say it under the card number, so some of them do, of course. The Action Image does. I think the Throwback Jersey does. There are certainly a few of them that say it, but high number short prints do not say on the back underneath the number what they are. Again, you have to look at the code to know what that is. Those will typically be ending in 112. Those are high number short prints, and they are short prints, but it doesn't indicate as such under the number like what you're referencing. So yeah, so there's lots of fun things you can find in Heritage, and there's some stuff that's even harder to find. They do sometimes you have little error variations and things that you would really have to know specifically what you were looking for to find. But the little codes on the back help us sort that out. That's how we can make certain of what we've got. But they at least make it a little easier. Topps did not used to even put that on there. Like now where it will say Action or Throwback or whatever. It didn't always. That's just been something that's happened in the last couple of years that they've printed that on there. Maybe the last year. So this is a variation for Votto, and it ends in 9-3. And I don't remember what 9-3 is. The code, 9-3. I just know it is a variation. So that's another example of one I would have to check it out to be able to tell you specifically what it is. I just recognize that it is a variation there for Joey Votto and my Cincinnati Reds. And honestly, if I were only breaking Heritage, I would probably have it all memorized and everything and be able to tell you every single bit of it. But I break a lot of stuff and sort a lot of stuff and handle a lot of things in any given week. And it's just hard to remember it all. It's that simple. As a Shohei Ohtani high number short for the Angels. There's color swap too, so that's another option of things that can be in here. They give you lots of fun stuff to go play hide and seek with in Heritage, for sure. Remember the one year they had the Bat Boy? Was that last year or year before last? That one of the error cards was actually the Bat Boy. That was... The picture was the Bat Boy, and the card said Mike Trout because it was a nod to an unintentional error from the 1969 set or 68 set, whichever year it was. It was either last year or year before last. Salvador Perez, Kansas City Royals, Clubhouse Collection Relic. He's out again, man. Elbow. Yeah. Thought he was going to be back and ready to go, and he's UCL is messed up again before we even get to the season opener. So Royals are going to be without Perez. Not going to make their life easy. But yeah, that Mike Trout Bat Boy thing, I would love to have pulled that. I think that was so cool. Because the original card, I mean, somebody put the picture of the Bat Boy on there and labeled it as the player because they actually thought it was the player. It was an accident in the original set, obviously intentional in the current modern set. All right, we're halfway there. 3 boxes open, 3 boxes left to go. And let's get this box topper out of there. Is another one of our original cards from 1970, and it's got all kinds of things going on. I mean, the corner up there is just destroyed. None of these corners are good, and it's terribly miscut. That's 50th anniversary stamp on it, letting you know that it was a buyback, and that, of course, the Detroit Tigers. But yeah, that has definitely been handled quite a bit since 1970. Wonder where they get all their buybacks. Do you assume they just like buy large collections or something and then just pull them out of there? I guess, maybe. I don't know. You would think that's probably what they do because there are an awful lot of them. All right, excuse me 1 second. I'm going to be right back. Oh, man, it is that time of year, and I have got like the worst chapped lips for some reason. And I forgot to bring my chapstick in here, so I had to go get it. Another scratch off insert, a little game, Cardinals Molina. Yeah, do any of you guys have a humidifier by chance? Thought about getting one of those, but I can't figure out, just based on what the photographs and things, if it's something that would be easily tipped over by a cat or a kitten, because if it would be, I probably can't get it. There's a little Aaron Judge action image variation for the New York Yankees. But my guess is that's the sort of thing that would probably help me not have chapped lips in the winter. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's Pat. Haha, cool. I like that. I think that's an awesome little nod to the prior original set. It's fun when they do little stuff like that. Lots and lots of multi-team cards that we find. And there are, of course, all those league leader cards. And what happens is at the end, you know, I'll put in like top, left, right, that sort of thing. And then random will tell us if it's going to go to the team in the top picture, the team in the, you know, bottom left, or team in the bottom right, that sort of thing. So we got Donruss Baseball coming out on Wednesday. We're going to break it first on Thursday night, though, not Wednesday night, because we're going to do Select Basketball, which is also a Wednesday release on Wednesday. Looks like Donruss Baseball's got a pretty good checklist. They often will have cards in there ahead of maybe what you might find in Topps. In other words, they'll probably have Vlad Guerrero Jr. in there and that sort of stuff. They kind of mix and match a little more freely since they are not technically MLB licensed, as you know. But you want to talk about a set with lots of parallels. Gosh, you open a pack of Donruss Baseball, probably half the cards in the pack are parallels. It's harder almost to find base, it seems like. It's not really, but it seems like it. Have a lot of parallels in Donruss. And they're big cases. They're 16-box cases. So even a half case break ends up netting you about 1,800 cards in that. Yeah, it's a big one. Big, big one. But it's fun usually. So we'll probably break Heritage again probably about this time next week, Saturday or Sunday of next week. But we may do it as a full case the next break. I haven't quite decided yet. I haven't entirely worked that out yet, but that's what I'm leaning towards. That is a team name variation, it says. And it is, of course, Juan Soto for the Nationals. And that's what Charlie was talking about. So, see, like I could tell from the code it was a variation, and very handily it says up there, team name. So, right? That's how we know. They just don't help us out with the high number short prints. All we know is to look for the code on those. We've also got coming next week Encased Football. That was incredibly hard to get this year. I think actually harder to get almost than National Treasures. It's crazy short supply. Matt Chapman for the Oakland A's Clubhouse Collection Relic is our hit out of this box. It held on right till the bitter end, didn't it? And Honors Football. We still have Honors to go as well. That is another product that has been really in demand and in very, very short supply. So if you're into football, we're not probably going to have as much of that breaking as anybody would like to have. Not just me. I don't think any breaker's going to have like massive amounts of that unless they buy it secondary market, which is possible, of course. They just charge you a lot more money to get it. But I was surprised at how little there was of Encased. I kind of expected Honors to be lower, but I was surprised at how low the numbers were for Encased. And for a change baseball, we can actually get in a little better supply this year. The Angels with another box topper. This, when you pulled the Shohei Ohtani earlier, there's the Mike Trout of the Super Card. So, pair of box toppers headed to the Angels. Man, my Kentucky Wildcats got destroyed today in basketball. Oh, it was so bad. Like, it's so bad all you can do is laugh about it. I mean, my goodness, we lost by 20 points or something. About as badly as we beat Tennessee in here, in Rupp Arena. They just beat the living tar out of us down there today. It was awful. Awful. It was, I mean, beat down is just the only way to describe it. Hideous, hideous. But hey, you know, what are you going to do? It was not a good day, though, for Kentucky basketball. Ben Zobrist and the Cubs. I actually had to turn it off for part of the game. It was making me in such a bad mood. I thought, oh, I got to get rid of this. I have a pinstripe on that one at least, so I am happy about that. You know I prefer to have pinstripes or some little something in our relics as opposed to just plain piece of cloth. So at least we got ourselves a little variation there, making life happier. That looks like a Torres that's going to be an action image variation, and it is indeed. So the Yankees had a Judge a moment ago. You've got a Gleyber Torres right there to go along with it. Lots and lots of batting leaders. Kyler Murray, of course, who was first round choice of the A's in the draft last year. I think everybody knows by now, has opted out and gone the NFL route instead. And we've had at various points during the breaks numerous discussions about how Kyler Murray is going to do in relation to being, you know, drafted as a top choice or a lower round choice. I've kind of said all along I thought he was going to be about a top 5 choice, and I'm sticking to that. But I think now that his measurables are in, I feel a little more confident about it than even I did before. As it turns out, he is a little over 5'10", so I think they said he was like a ½ inch shorter than Russell Wilson. So not as short as, you know, some people were saying he was 5'8" and things like that. So he is at least a little over 5'10", and I think he weighed in at over 200 pounds as well, so that helped his case. So I think, you know, he also, though, elected not to do any of, he didn't throw, he didn't do any of the drills at the combine, only the interviews and the medical and the measurables. And we'll see. That just means his pro day has to go perfectly, though, since he didn't do any drill work at the combine. But if his pro day goes well, I mean, you know, guy may go top 1 or 2. Freddie Freeman, Atlanta Braves. I know Greg's been one who's been saying all along he thinks the Arizona Cardinals are going to ditch Rosen and go with Kyler. Because, of course, you know, Cliff Kingsbury at one time said that. But that's before Cliff Kingsbury was actually in the NFL. He was like, oh, yeah, I would take him number 1 if I had the chance. And then, whoops, now he does have the chance. So you may be right. A lot of talking heads seem to be leaning that way. I thought it was crazy, though. I mean, I just can't imagine throwing in the towel on Josh Rosen so quickly. But more and more, that's what the scuttlebutt is. So I guess not so crazy after all. He maybe does end up going number 1 overall. I don't know. I do know that he is going to be signing in the Leaf products because they sent out, of course, all that Leaf football stuff will be coming out pretty soon, or starting to come out pretty soon. And they sent out a little announcement that they had added him to the signing list. They signed a deal with him or whatever, so we do know he'll be in the Leaf stuff. Oh, and Leaf Valiant Baseball moved its release date again, by the by. It was originally supposed to be, I think, Wednesday of next week, and then it moved to Friday of next week, and now it's moved to Tuesday, but not of this upcoming Tuesday, but a week from the upcoming Tuesday. Just kind of weird, right? A Tuesday release, but they do things their own way over there at Leaf. This is for the Oakland A's. It is a black border Pettit. But Valiant Baseball is always awesome. If you haven't ever opened that before, it's worth checking out. Look at some of the cards you can find on eBay from past years. And they always have really nice relics in Valiant Baseball. Like really nice ones. Well, in the past they have. I shouldn't say it'll be that way this time because you never know how something's going to turn out. But in the past, you can find nice relics in. I think Valiant. Or is Valiant the one with the graded cards? Leaf calls all their things football and baseball. They all have the same names, you know, Flash or Metal Draft or whatever. Valiant might be the graded card one. I might have told you incorrectly. The one with the nice patches might be a different one. And Valiant may be the one with the graded card. We'll have to double check that. There's the Royals again. I think this is the exact same guy we saw on our other box topper. I mean, not only same team. I think it's literally the same player. But same as miscut, you know, soft corners, damaged corners, edges, imperfect. All the things you would expect from an original 1970 baseball card. So, of course, we're on our last box here for tonight. So, you know what that means. It means it's last box mojo time. We are hoping that we can conjure up the big hits here. Out of the last box, we are so far all relics out of our first 5 boxes. So it would be nice if we could get an autograph here instead of a relic out of the last box. We hope so anyway. There's Gleyber Torres. That is a high number short print for the Yankees. There's another scratch off. Starlin Castro for the Marlins. I wonder if anybody scratches those off. Does anybody really scratch them off, or do they all just leave them unscratched for collectible purposes? Probably unscratched. To be surprised if some people might scratch them off. I don't know. Brad Hand, that is /50 black border for the Cleveland Indians. But you know, it's like the rip cards in Allen and Ginter. I'm always so tempted with the rip cards. I can't not rip my own. I have to rip them. They just call out to me in the middle of the night if I don't. You just hear them, you know, calling my name. Come and rip me open. The Pirates, that's a high number short print. It's just, I can't not rip them. So I probably would, if that were my card, I would probably have to scratch off and play the little game on at least one of them. Just for the heck of it. Although it would be easier to pass up than the rip cards. The rip cards to me are like impossible to pass up. And I know some people will do, you know, there's all the little tricks to try and figure out what's inside a rip card. So you can use, you know, a magnet to see if it's a metal variation in there. Some people say if you shine a flashlight behind it, you can make out what's inside of it. And sometimes you probably can, I guess, obviously, or people wouldn't think that you could. So there's all kinds of little ways and tricks to figure out what's in there, I guess, to determine whether or not it's worth it to rip it. But for me, yeah, it's just, gosh, it's tempting. Yeah, you gotta know if it's my own. Obviously, I would not ever rip Urals in a break, never, but somebody offered that to me once, too, somebody who breaks with me a lot. He goes, if you pull one of mine, and I did later pull one of his, he goes, you can rip it, I don't care, but oh, I didn't want to. It's like, no, I don't want to take the fun away from it for you, you know, let you get it and rip it when it gets in your hands. Salvador Perez and the Royals with a high number short print. Jose Altuve, also a high number short print. That one is the Astros. And once again, guys, I'm sure that there are loads more of these high number short prints that I just didn't catch the particular image when we went through. And I will certainly find it when we sort. Oh, I thought, but I guess not. Had to double check feeling that one, because you know you can also get the swap where the front feels like the back and the back feels like the front. Trey Mancini for the Orioles, and that's a little chrome refractor. It is numbered to 570. So I thought that was maybe a flip stock for a minute, but it was not. Who's on this then and now? Orioles and Astros. Every time I see that Corey Dickerson, I think that should be a variation. It's obviously not, but I always feel like it's going to be. There's just certain images that look like they should be variations, aren't there? I think so, anyway. Well, our hit out of this last box seems to be hanging on here to kind of the bitter end, doesn't it? And there's another Juan Soto for the Nationals. This one is a high number short print that does not have the team variation or team name, which I think was just a color swap, basically, on the other one that we saw for Juan. That was a short print. And here comes our final hit out, and it is hand numbered. Always like this. That's always a good sign. It is numbered to 99, Gleyber Torres. Clubhouse Collection relic. That is a piece of the baseball bat, and I need a thicker sleeve for that one. So let's get that all ready to go there for Mr. Torres. Hand numbered to 99 on that relic. Okay, so we've got a little bit of work to do here before we recap. And that's going to be all of the things setting up here in housekeeping. and there's going to be loads of them. So let's deal with this first. Then and now, I'm going to go to random. I will type in left and right. It's very easy. And then depending on what random tells us, these cards will either go to the team on the left-hand side of each card or the team on the right-hand side of each card. So I do random the same way every time. If we have fewer than 10 items, so in other words 9 or fewer in random.org, I hit random 3 different times. The first 2 will not count. The third and final random will be the determining random. Now, if we have 10 or more, I only do random once, but we're not going to have 10 or more on any of this that we're doing tonight, except the news flashbacks. So we're doing the then and now cards at the moment. All right, let me make sure I've got you on the same page I'm on, and we are good there. So there's the first one you can ignore, the second one ignored. Here's the third and final. And there it says 3 times, and our date and time stamp, it goes to the left-hand side of the card. So I'm going to put the first one of these in a sleeve so that I can circle that and know for future when it's time to sort them. I will know which side of the card was chosen. And of course, again, I circled on the sleeve, not on the card. So you've got Orioles, the Cardinals, the Twins, the Reds, Twins, and Mets. That's how then and now are going to go to their new homes. Next up, let's see how many different variations we have here. That's 1 and 4. Those are both 3 and 2, 3 and 2, 1 and 3. All right. And these are all going to be 1 and 2s because we're going to have to do random, obviously, for each different set of photo variations because it's not much better way to do it, honestly. So we'll do this large stack first. And this will be number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. So I'm just going to literally type in 1 through 4 in random, and then depending on where it lands, again, 1, 2, 3, 4 will determine what teams those are going to go to. Oh, wrong spot. Let's try that again. Okay, so the first one does not count. The second one does not count. Here's our third and final. 3 times. Date and time stamp gives us position number 2 on the card, which means we are looking at the lower left-hand corner. So I'm going to circle that on this sleeve. Sleeve, not the card. All right, so for this one would be the Rockies. And where did I put the rest of my 3s? There they are. So that was the Rockies, and then you've got the Rockies again and the Rockies again. So all 3 of those turned out they were the same card. So the Rockies get all 3 of those, it seems. This one, same deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the positions that we're looking for in random on this little group of cards. All right, so you can ignore the first one and the second one. Here comes our third and final. And there you see 3 times our date and time stamp. It goes to position number 5 on this card group. So that is going to be the lower left-hand corner, or the lower right-hand corner. Sorry, not lower left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower right hand corner. Once again, sleeve not card. So we are talking the Rockies on the first one, the Phillies, the Rockies, the Phillies, the Phillies, the Phillies, and the Rockies. That's how that group is going to go to its new home. The big group. We'll do top, left, and right. That's the easiest way to do those. Or we could do 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter. We're doing the rest with numbers. I guess we'll just keep it that way. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, you can ignore the first one, ignore the second one. Here's our third and final. 3 times our date and time stamp. It goes to number 1. How about that? The big spot at the very top of the card. The one that makes it the easiest one to see. How about that? So, Nationals, of course, getting that one. We'll just flip through this stack here. Red Sox, Astro, Ray, Brewer, Ray, Red Sox, Ray, Astro, Rays, the Met, was that the Mets? Yeah, the Mets. Rays, Nationals, A's, Red Sox, Brewers, Red Sox, Mets, A's, Red Sox, Brewers. So that's how those are awarded. Which brings us now to our little stack of news flashbacks. So we'll just go through all of these right now. And I'm going to award the entire group of news flashbacks is going to go in one lot to one single team. So the way that's going to work, I'll bring you along with me. I'm going to go to random.org and we'll first go to the spreadsheet, copy all of the team names. Then I will paste those into random.org. And in this instance, because we are talking about 10 or more items in our list, we got 30 teams, of course, we're only going to hit random a single time on this one. And whatever team comes up in that number 1 position after we randomize this, we'll get that whole little stack of news flashbacks cards. Well, why did that not paste in there? There we go. Must have clicked the wrong thing. All right, so scrolling down through to let you see that everything is in fact in there as you would expect it to be. And good luck, everyone. It's going to come up as the Phillies. Got a little action going for the Philadelphia Phillies here with our little stack of news flashback cards. And of course, obviously, you know I wrote that on the bag, not on the card. I mean, yeah. Now we can recap. Take a look at what we pulled. Here are our scratch-offs. There's the Brewers, the Braves, Cardinals, Brewers, the Giants, and the A's. Once again, all these are going to have wear at the center. That's just the way the little card is made with that hinged part is just going to have wear in it on every single one of those. Whether they've been opened or not been opened, it doesn't matter. It's just the way they're made. So we have one chrome variation that is a refractor. It's numbered to 570. We have 2 chrome variations here that are not refractors. Each of those are numbered to 999. Then these are the short prints and variations that I caught as we went through live. Again, I'm sure I'm going to find plenty more short prints, high number short prints in particular when I sort. And I will, of course, pull those out and mark them as such when it ships. But all the cards ship, so anything you saw, you're going to get. Juan Soto for the Nationals, Altuve, Astros, Salvador Perez for the Royals, Felipe Vasquez for the Pirates. For the Indians, that's Brad Hand with the black border. There's Gleyber Torres for the Yankees, a black border pettit for the A's. That Torres is an action image variation for the Yankees. There's another Nationals. I think it's going to be color swap because it said team name, so I feel like that means it's probably the color swap variation. And there's Mr. Aaron Judge in an action image variation for the Yankees. Shohei Ohtani, high number short. A Joey Votto variation for the Reds, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Code on it is 93. It is a variation, but I'm not sure which variation. The Angels with Justin Upton is a high number short print. You have your rookies for the Braves with a black border, a little Acuna high number short for the Braves, and the Astros with Alex Bregman with an action image variation. Now, our relics, our hits for tonight were all relics. We didn't pull any autographs out of this half of the case. But we do have a Gleyber Torres for the Yankees, hand numbered to 99, Clubhouse Collection relic. We did manage to get a pinstripe on this one. It's Ben Zobrist for the Cubbies. For the Oakland A's, you have Matt Chapman. For the Kansas City Royals, Salvador Perez. Ryan Braun for the Milwaukee Brewers, and Rick Porcello for the Red Sox. So that's all of that. We do have some box loaders, box toppers we can look at. So the Royals with one of the original 1970 buyback cards. Just as a reminder, all those are going to have pretty heavy wear because, yeah, they've been floating around the universe since 1970. There's a Mike Trout for the Angels. All of those cards, facsimile signatures printed on, not actual signatures, of course. The Tigers with another original 1970 card. The Yankees with a Thurman Munson. There's the Royals again with a 1970 buyback. And then the Angels with the oversize for Shohei Ohtani. Those are our box loaders. So that is it for tonight. That's the break. That's the recap. I will put up the spreadsheet information one more time if you missed the anticipated shipping date or you want to take a look at what we've got scheduled breaking in the days ahead. All that is coming at you right now. So expecting it to be on the way to you roughly Wednesday. If things go really well, it could get out a little faster than that. If something goes off the rails, it could always be a day behind that. But my best guess right now is a Wednesday shipping date. Everybody pulled cards in here, so we don't have to worry about consolation cards. Tomorrow night, no breaks. It's an off night, but we'll be back at it in force on Monday night doing a pair of Gold Rush autograph mini helmets, a 3-box inner case of Onyx Preferred Players autograph baseballs, a case of Impeccable Basketball, and a master case, a 20-box master case of Contenders Optic Football. Tuesday, we'll do Leaf Best Basketball and a Select Football, both by the full case. Wednesday, we'll do Trifecta Football. That's the memorabilia box from Gold Rush. And we'll also do a full case of Select Basketball, which is a Wednesday release. On Thursday night, note we are starting early at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. We will open a Leaf Autograph Multisport jersey and a half case of Donruss Baseball. That's 8 boxes, and it'll be about 1,700 cards, so it'll be a pretty long break. But Donruss Baseball is a Wednesday release, but yeah, we're not going to get around to it until Thursday night. So that's what we look like in the days ahead, and I guess that is it for me tonight. So thanks, everyone, for spending part of your evening with me. I do appreciate you being here, and I will see you again on Monday night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you the next time. Bye now.